Good afternoon and a warm welcome. You're watching Education News Network, and today we're bringing to you a fresh new topic of discussion, that is, has the pandemic led to the lack of respect for education? And for that, we have with us a panel of eminent educators who will be joining us in this discussion today. So let's welcome our first panelist of the day. We have Mrs. Kaveri C, the principal of Marigold International School. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nithya, for having me on this platform to express my views. Thank you.
Our next panelist is Mrs. Poornima Mahesh, the principal of Brooklyn National Public School, Bangalore. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nithya. It's an honor to be here.
Our next panelist is Dr. Anuj S. Singh, the principal of Prakriti Valley School, Dehradun. Welcome, sir.
Hello, Nithya. Hello, dear friends. It's an honor to be with you.
Our last panelist of the day is Mr. Abhishek Majumdar, the principal of the study, Udaipur. Welcome, sir.
Hello, Nithya. It's my pleasure to be over here among with you all. Thank you.
Glad to have all of you here today. So to discuss our topic of discussion today, may I invite our first panelist, Mrs. Kaveri, please, to speak on the topic. Ma'am, do you think the pandemic has led to the lack of respect for education?
Yes and no. So let me begin with, during this pandemic, remote learning has become a lifeline for education. Education is not about what we teach or what we learn. It is also about how, when, and where they learn, the students learn. So, when the COVID-19 pandemic struck, many schools faced the hindrance of shortage or inadequacy of digital learning. And we know that technology enables teachers and students to access specialized materials well beyond the textbooks and in multiple formats. And technology is as good as its use. And we know that real change comes only amidst deep crisis. So the current crisis is testing, I will say, the ability of teachers and the system at large to deliver with accountability. So apart from, lack of peer-to-peer contact, which motivates students to work and learn social skills, their mental and emotional well-being, the online education has somewhere robbed the joy of learning. The essence of education is lost. And we have observed that there is rise in cheating during the examination. There is sharing of academic files, then muting of the videos during the class, and many more are the areas of concern. There is no remorse from the students since attitudes have shifted from prioritizing education over other things. Creativity has taken a dip and plagiarism is on a high. Students feel less passionate about the integrity of their work. The schools are generous in awarding marks to the students to showcase more about the school and not really bothering about the learning outcome of the students. With the cancellation of board examination, a student who is very good and a student who is average, just because the school wants to project that the students are doing very well and they are very well reputed school, they tend to give marks to the students more than what they actually deserve. So I feel that if the system, the educators are accountable, they do their work with accountability, then no student will lose respect. No, respect is up to us how we deliver. If we are able to deliver, then I think this mainly I spoke for the privileged children who are having access to digital technology. I'm not touching the underprivileged children who are facing enormous problems. Having said that, the schools and the educators need to respect our profession. If we respect and we do our work with accountability, I don't think that students will lose the respect for education during this pandemic, during the online class. So, thank you. Thank you, Nithya.
So, Mrs. Poornima, Mahesh, can we hear from you, please?
So I totally, agree with Ms. Kaveri here. Yes, there are certain stages where, we have lost the track of what education can mean. So for just to come about like a story where it actually starts, education is something where you acquire knowledge, new skills, new values, and the attitude towards life, making that meaningful contribution to the world after in every milestone that you grow up to be. But this pandemic actually gave us a new perspective to the whole scenario of education. We were always in the mode where we wanted that face to face interaction between the teachers and the students to have that quality being upheld. But here now we were thrown at surprise, and we were asked to do something which we had not been which was not tested, which we was something new to us. We were all excited about it, we were worried about it, be it teachers, be it parents, students were like having their the best times, saying, oh my god, it's a pandemic and we're going to have a lot of fun. But then last year, children were like, they spent so much time online. When we were looking at how to cope with this scenario of Corona, um, it was something that, we were worried about children's safety. I mean, I agree, both parents and teachers, if you look at it in the perspective of a parent, they were all worried, like, will this really make sense? Because we were not sure how we're going to equip ourselves into this kind of a scenario. But then if you look at teachers, they were actually doing a ground level training process was happening to them. They had to double their speed to cope with the scenario and equip children, not losing time, and the teaching learning process not to be lost. So in this thing, I think in the initial days where teachers were trying and testing their period, and they did not know how to share screens, or just enable children to do their online assessments or check their homeworks on PDFs, multiple things happened. But it was a small phase in my view, where actually parents became very judgmental, because now the classrooms became very open. It was not just an enclosed four wall scenario. Now parents were sitting next to the students and actually seeing what teachers are doing. And in any case, they became very judgmental in the initial stages, saying, oh my God, this is the teacher. She's not able to do this. She's not able to answer that. She's not able to control anybody. So multiple things made this, situation where people, I mean, parents majorly, they became very judgmental about teachers and started criticizing, saying, they're not doing a good job. So I think there was a phase where both teachers were putting a lot of efforts to develop that trust from the parents, and parents were kind of fighting it out, saying, does this really mean anything? Is it going to make sense to students? But if at all given a chance, now 1 year is over, one academic year, we actually finished with grace, saying we've done well, online classes have happened. Today our teachers are more equipped. I'm again talking about the places where they're actually able to access online, as Ms. Kaveri rightly said, because there are remote places where we're not even able to reach this online digital mode. We're not even ready. So we should not be blaming the cities which are not actually ready, but the places where we are actually okay with it. I think it was just a small phase where they had lost trust, and they were testing waters. Parents were testing waters whether this will work or not. But I think now there is, after it is the second year of our online classes, I don't think it's going to change anymore this year too. So keeping that in mind, I think parents will have developed a little bit of trust. Now we see a lot of people talking with a lot of respect to teachers and saying, oh my god, it's a lot of hard work, I cannot manage one at home, and how do you manage 30 or 32 in the classroom? So multiple remarks where parents have been really appreciative of our teachers has also happened. So I think in a small phase we did lose trust, but then our teachers have put in a lot of efforts, and I think gained it back. And this year I'm sure it's going to make a lot of sense to both parents as well as students, if I agree with that.
Thank you, ma'am. So Dr. Anuj S. Singh, can we have your views, please?
Thank you. My two previous educators, they have touched the topic most beautifully. And whatever I will say and whatever I'm going to share, that will be nothing new but an extension of their viewpoints. Dear all, one thing is common between us, that we belong to the same fraternity. And when this problem started last year, third week of March, none of us had any idea that how we are going to shape, how we are going to cope. Our teachers were blank, parents were confused, children had no idea. But one thing I will say about our community, our fraternity, that our teachers, they took up the challenge, they evolved. As leaders, we tried our best to support them. And trust me, the early days were very difficult. Parents had no faith. I'm not talking about Bangalore. I will not discuss about Udaipur. But Dehradun is a very conservative city. It is known for a schooling industry, I call it. 400 schools in the radius of 20 kilometers, CBSE and ICSC. But when this problem started, parents were not ready to accept, and they were not ready to take online teaching as a serious mode of teaching. We started, but one thing I will say, the teachers, they rose to the occasion. Some of them, they had no idea of online teaching. They had very tight hands, very tight hands on IT skills. Like ma'am said, how they learned to convert their files into PDF, blah, blah. They picked up so very well and so very fast that eventually parents and children started taking online seriously. But where is the problem? The problem is, even after completing 14 months into pandemic, there is no concrete guideline from the Ministry of Education. We are evolving on our own. Not a single guideline has come from the Ministry of Education, previously known as HRD. Council, CBSE, I'm a council school. Council is not too sure. They are asking us. I don't know much about CBSE, but till date, they don't know what they want to do with class 12. Everything is coming on through online portals or through news channels, which are unreliable. We cannot rely on them. But I tell you, dear friends, I think on one point we will agree that there is no substitute to the offline teaching. Through artificial intelligence and through online modes, we can teach and impart certain theories. But how our young ones, our precious ones, are going to put those theories into practice, it is a mystery to me. I have completed more than 34 years in this industry, in this line, but I'm biting my nails how our children are going to accept the practical things, how they are going to evolve, how they are going to pick up the practical things. The damage is beyond repair. And of course, as ma'am said, our first learned speaker said, that it's 50-50. Yes, to some extent, the pandemic has definitely caused an enormous damage to the teaching, but we are evolving. We are evolving because we have no choice, no option, and that's not a good thing. This is what I have to say. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Abhishek Majumdar, can we hear your views, please?
Thank you to all my learned friends who had given their views. My views, even my views, are not a very different one. It's almost the same. We all had been going through the turbulent times during the current scenario. A few were in isolation fighting with COVID, while others were making their ends meet to support the family. It was altogether a dilemma of what to do how to support the family because every one of us is affected. The situation was not so good because people were not accepting the situation and the challenge that has come in front of them, whether they are parents, whether they are teachers, both are the pillars for educating a child. So it was difficult for both the parents and teachers to accept the things and to adapt and finally to come up with a solution. So this pandemic has only not only grounded us to a very challenging platform, but also unfastened numerous opportunities to explore. So you will all be agreeing on to this fact that we were thrown into a pool of technology with an expectation of not only to survive but to swim with efficacy. So this technology we have understood as a new to this particular field for most of our teachers, specifically those who had been teaching languages. It was definitely challenging for them. Being an educationist, a lots of learning and experimentation has taken place to keep pace with changing environment. May it be the short span of time, the amount of time that we were there with the students, 6 hours. We might not have been working for 6 hours, but yes, it's not with the students, but yes, we have to at the back end we need to work for our videos, lectures, preparation, PowerPoint presentation, and then the feedbacks. Even we have done parent teacher meeting online so that we understand and we get a feedback how to go about it. Certainly, this pandemic has led to a shortfall of a bit of respect for education in the first year of pandemic, but we have uh, grown somehow. Teachers were doing their best to be the mentors of the students. Parents were busy finding out the lapses in online education. Students are finding it challenging to overcome their anxiety. So, with all this, imparting a education was a bit challenging. It is really a demanding situation to ensure that the parents become a supporting pillar for education at home and come up with feedback to improve the learning experience, which eventually had happened in the past few days. They have come up with their feedbacks and they were happy with the way the teachers have handled their children. So obviously, students need to adapt and understand that this is the only way out so that they are in pace with the world. Gaining the same respect as that of offline class in online class is obviously a mountain task to achieve. Still, I feel that those who are in grade 1, 2, or maybe in the pre-primary classes, they are the most suffered ones because they need hand-holding of the teachers. Not every parent is skilled enough to help them. So I feel that it would have been better that if we could have skilled the parents to do the things. But yes, I thank God that we got an opportunity to use the technology to help the students to come up with this particular situation. So obviously it's a boon also, and it's obviously we need more a kind of insight for our younger ones.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So moving on to our questions now, Mrs. Kaveri.
Nithya, before you shoot out a question to me, can I have a little discussion with my co-panelists regarding little bit on this topic?
All right.
Okay, kindly give me the permission.
Yes.
I think all of us spoke about how we rose to the occasion, right? But very few of us dwell on that whether because due to online education, are the students losing respect for education? All of us spoke about how we all coped up. So I would like to add here, to add to what everybody has said, I would say that The first and foremost is academic integrity. If each one of us as educators around the globe, whether it's world, all over, if we all have the integrity, because see, you can cheat, academic integrity is something that a teacher can just put something in YouTube. The child also knows that he need not attend this. He can see this anytime later. It's not made by the teacher at all. So he can just unmute and be physically present, and that's what's happening. So if all of us, each our co-teachers, if each of us can work on this, I think then the students and the parents will respect education. That is, according to me, a very important part, the academic integrity on behalf of the system, on behalf of the teachers. Yes. Now, please shoot your question to me.
Yeah. So my question is, we've seen a significant rise in the number of school dropouts owing to the pandemic. So how do we motivate our students to not give up on their education?
Yes, a very good question and a very valid question. I'm not talking about the poor strata of the society. Let me tell you. Because they could not afford and they did not do it. And the government, lures them by giving them midday meal so that the students come to school. So those kind of things the government does. Unfortunately, now they're at home. They don't have a system. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the dropout rate among the privileged society. I think my co-principals will agree that people living in good houses can afford education, but they felt that it's okay not to go to school. It's okay. Online teaching doesn't do it. And they can save on 1 year of education. So we are getting, the regression in education is so much that we're getting students who have not attended last year at all. And they want to be promoted. So if you ask me, it's all about the quality. It's all about, because nothing else. You cannot lure them. You cannot lure them with anything else other than doing the best in your profession. I'm not talking about the dropouts among the lower strata. Again.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, do you think parents play a vital role in inculcating respect for education in their kids? Because earlier we saw towards the end of 2020, prior to the second wave of COVID-19, when places had started to reopen, we saw that parents were okay with taking their kids on holidays to malls, cinema halls, and all of that. But when it came to the reopening of schools, somehow schools were seen as COVID hotspots. So in this context, what is your message to parents?
I agree with you, Nithya. We were also always worried that they're able to go to a mall, they're able to go to restaurants, spend time, and in big places where there were a lot of mob, basically, a lot of crowd around. But it was okay with parents probably thinking that my child is with me, I'll ensure the safety and the hygiene part of it. But then they had lost track of actually seeing it in a very stringent manner where they were the cause for the spread of this second wave. We cannot blame the first one as such and say, okay, this is what has happened. And the second wave, I can definitely, I truly believe that it was our own mistake where we let it out very casually, saying, the pandemic is over. And by the time we could even turn back, it was, the wave hit us so bad that now we are all locked up in our own houses, not even able to go and purchase vegetables. You're actually stuck now. But if at all, parents had just believed, as Ms. Kaveri was, aptly saying, we saw a downfall in, children coming and attending classes. Admissions were not taken, thinking that it's just going to be 1 year affair. And, probably they're in pre-primary classes, grade 1, they can automatically get into it, or probably multiple things where they were not serious about education. Here, I would like to emphasize where parents, instead of seeing this education just as marks, what is coming into their report cards,
let's see it as a lifelong journey where they're actually getting into the mode of learning, how to learn, what to learn. We are not teaching them only just the subjects. We're giving them values. We are giving them the skills to look for information, and understand that information and adapt themselves, put it into use in their real life situations. But apparently we've always been nudged about what is your score in your report card. As we were looking at our closure last year, they were only worried what is the score that you're giving me. But not many parents came back asking me how did he perform online. It was a skill that we gave them. We were not just teaching them what a CPU is, what a monitor is, or what a mouse is. They were the ones. Children logged in, they got off, they were able to access our PPTs, they were able to ask questions online, clarify, submit assignments, they were able to take online assessments. Be it anything, they had adapted themselves so well. And as human beings, we should be the first ones to acknowledge that kind of a skill in a child. But this, for many reasons, from centuries now, we have lost track of what education can be. Parents always look at that as, what is there in your report card. This, attitude probably has to change in our forthcoming years, because education is not just going to be, in your report cards anymore. It's going to be more skill-based, more, whatever your interests are, what is your passion, what is your inclination. If you want to learn math, please do. If you want to you like science, please go to science. Or you want to be an artist, multiple choices are going to open. With this, scenario, we don't know what is our future, jobs looking like, right? So we are not just here only to grade them and give them A's and, other grades, but we're trying to get them to understand what our futuristic jobs can be and skills can be. So I think they should, cope with us right now and stop going out, respect schools, be it online or, offline, whatever it is. Now it's going to be blended learning. It's not just going to go back to, face-to-face interface anymore. We are definitely going to be adapting more on this online too. So I think it's better that parents also understand, we respect what is happening right now, and then take it forward.
Thank you, ma'am. So my next question is to Mr. Abhishek Majumdar. So we've been speaking about how parents were interrupting between online classes. Ms. Poornima also spoke about that. So, right. And she also said that it's improved now, but we still come across these cases. So in this case, how do you think teachers should handle parents that interfere in their child's online classes?
If you ask me, the way we had done this particular thing is, before starting our online classes, we always went for PTMs. Whenever there were changes in the structure of online classes, we again we were there in the PTM. In the PTM, we make parents understand what their role is, how we need them to support us, and how we want them to be there with the students. Other than that, there are parents who were very inquisitive to find out how the teaching learning is going on. So they keep on sitting with their child, they keep on looking onto the things. So as class teachers or as subject teachers, we had already given a note to them that whenever your class is over and you find some time, do find a time to get feedbacks. So these feedbacks helps us to be in touch with the parents, and we never faced any kind of problem as far as parents saying so that you had not been doing the task. We had been doing the task the way it was going on in the classroom, the same way it is going in the online classroom. There was no difference except one-to-one touch that we generally have in our offline classes. Other than that, all the parents were in touch with us, and there was one number, that is of the principal, which was there with them. So anytime they used to have any kind of problem, There's one point of contact that they can contact us. Other than that, we have tried our level best to give 1 hour gap or 1 hour window to all the parents to put their concerns over there. So, which has reduced the number of interference coming from the parent side. Actually, that has helped. That has helped us or aided our learning, teaching learning system. So I think with these kind of innovations, every principal, every educator thinks on this particular ground where they need not to face such kind of hindrances, and they get support instead of hindrances. So we have thought of, others have thought of in their own ways. So but this helped us to cater the students better in a better way.
I think that was a very nice strategy. Thank you. So, Dr. Anuj Singh, what are some of the ways to bring out the best in teachers during these tough times, in your opinion?
Thank you, Nithya. Before I answer your question, let me share with you and with my friends that, when we had half yearly examination in the month of September, there are three types of children in any school or in any class: very good, and so. When I'm saying so, it doesn't mean that I'm branding them. I'm branding them as per the marks they earn. Trust me, and I don't know what is your experience on it. Children who are below average, their performance went up high. Online examination. But fortunately, month of Feb and March, schools from class 6 onwards were allowed to function in school in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. And then the performance of the toppers of the class went down. Trust me, it went down, but hardly by 2%. If the child was getting 99% last year, he was 97 or 98. But when we had our offline examination, the mediocres who had got 80, 90, 95%, they came to 50%, their actual marks. So I would like to tell you that it is not that how we are teaching. It is very important that how children are receiving our online efforts. That's very, very important. And that is why I stick to my answer that yes, online teaching has caused enormous damage to the learning, may not be for teaching, for learning. Now coming to your answer, teachers, as I told you in my, when I was given 2 minutes, I told you and I shared with you that nobody in our country received any kind of guidelines. We kept on trying, we kept on learning. Like Mr. Majumdar, he said that we used to have PTMs. So through PTMs, the parents suggested, parents and teachers and school, they are the partners in the growth of the children. Teachers are the instruments. How we try to encourage our teachers, believe me, some of the parents, some of the children, they will never join any class on time. They will join late, mute, unmute, put the video off. But a child learns in a school in a much different way than what he learns in the online process. See, you get up in the morning, you check your attire, your outfit is checked, your turnout is checked. In school, you walk in line. Even a teacher, before she or he will go to the school, will prepare for the day, plan the lesson. But the basic problem faced by us, when I say us, faced by me, I'm the principal of the school and my wife is dean of academics. What problems we faced? That teachers, they used to get demoralized by the comments made by the parents. Believe me, it was very, very demeaning that parents peeping through the eyes of the camera. I'm sure most of the teachers, many teachers, they have faced. We must not forget that India represents various sections of society. affluent class, they have everything. There are many children in my school, they did not have internet facilities. There were three children in one family and one tab or one mobile. Some of the teachers, they had to do a lot of things. Family members fell sick. They were suffering from COVID, and they had to take the role, take the responsibility. How we did? We just encouraged them. Whatever they said, we trusted them. We did not question them. Believe me, there were many teachers who were sick. They were struggling. They were unwell. But when I said, no, you don't teach, take off today, they said, sir, we will manage. This is the beauty of this fraternity. And believe me, most of the principals, educators, those who are in this panel, they are live. I saw ma'am clapping. Trust me, we have not worked for money. Most of the schools, they know what kind of fee we got. We all have suffered, but it has never deterred us. It has never brought us down. It has never kneeled us. And that sense of resilience, that sense of fight is there, that yes, we have taken the responsibility of educating our children, and we will do that. Believe me, I did not have to do much with my teachers. They learned, they evolved, and they performed. And trust me, no principal can ever be a good principal unless we are gifted with some amazing people known as teachers. Hats off to my fraternity. I have, as a last, this is my 18th, 19th year as a principal. There was a disconnect. But now I know I have started taking 3 classes every day. I think the best days in our life is when we are with the children, whether online or offline, the joy is same. We are doing our best. I really don't care how much parents are appreciating. I really don't care how much children are picking up. But let us be optimistic. One fine day, this pandemic is going to be over. Of course, we have to live with this maybe 10 months or 12 months or 14 months. I'm not WHO director that I can comment and then change my statement. But one day we are going to bounce back. Our precious ones are going to be with us. And we are going to see those naughty sounds, naughty yelling, and then teachers banging the table with the duster. Keep quiet, children. That's what we are missing. And trust me, it is on the way. Such is my faith. And let us pray for it. And I pray for you. You continue to pray for us and for me as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And thank you to everyone today for being a part of this discussion where we realized how important education is and how sad it is that the pandemic has led to the lack of respect for education. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, one and all. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
And with that, we come to the end of this interesting discussion on how the pandemic has led to the lack of respect for education. Due to time constraints, we could only take a couple of questions, but if you have any additional queries, do feel free to write to us and we'll be happy to answer your questions offline. For more such videos, do log on to our website, theenn.com, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. For now, signing off, Nithya.